Welcome to Wonder Women Who Build, the podcast where women lead boldly, build businesses that last, and forge relationships that truly matter. I'm your host, Carrie Moreau, business owner, relationship builder, proud roofing Wonder Woman, and someone who believes that success starts with a solid foundation in business and in life. Whether you're growing a company, leading a team, or just figuring out what's next, this space is for you. So thank you for hitting play. I'm so glad you're here. Every week I talk about my wins. And so today I'm going to share the perspective that last episode I recorded was, the one that was standalone. I was going through something very public, very emotional. It felt a little threatening, but I didn't just survive it, I grew. So I learned a whole lot. And I can say that our team came out stronger and more grounded and more aligned than we've ever been. And that's a huge win. And then my other win is that I met with a homeowner just this past week. And when we finished, she said, I felt like I just had a meeting with a good friend. I've been dreading going through getting quotes to do my roof. And you were a breath of fresh air. And this was so pleasant that I wish I would have done it sooner. So big win, because that's exactly how I want people to feel. I want them to feel seen and heard, and that that the projects they're doing in their home really matter. And I'm going to take that one as a great win. It feels really good to be on the other side of a storm. So a few episodes ago, I shared the raw reality of being threatened by a collections attorney who came in hot, questioning my character, contacting former employees, trying to intimidate and shake me into fear and silence. What's really funny is that I found out he was not actually an attorney. So that was interesting, but it was one of the most triggering leadership moments that I've ever had. Not because I didn't necessarily know what to do, but because of what it brought up. So I shared it with you because I needed to take shame out of the dark. And now I want to share the after. So where we are now is that same account is now paid in full. The cash flow tightness has eased. The liens that were, being filed against us and all that stuff, it all got resolved. But a really cool thing that came out of it is when it was happening, this same collections person had reached out to a few clients trying to, say that I was somebody I wasn't. So I think the expression is defame your character. So they did that. But one of those clients is also an entrepreneur, and he owns a company here in town. And I've known him for a little bit because he actually services my home for what his company does. So he reached out to me and he said, listen, this is a bump in the road all of us entrepreneurs go through. I'm rooting for you. I believe in you. I know you've got this. I know everything's going to be handled. And if you have any troubles, please, any further troubles, or if there is anything that happens, please give me a call and give me a heads up. He's like, but I want you to know that nothing that this person is doing is going to change my opinion of you. And that was really great. So even though I went through this tough time and had that happen, there was silver linings the whole way through. So if you're going through a tough time right now, I encourage you to stay strong and to hold on to your integrity and look for those silver linings that maybe, you're getting reassured that you're on the right path and doing the right thing. But my integrity stood strong. And even under the pressure, I just kept showing up as what I needed, how I needed my team, to show strength and to show reassurance, and to also let them see a little bit of the transparency behind the scenes. They all knew it was a really stressful time, but it actually, because I was willing to share with them and to be transparent, it actually brought our team closer together. So I no longer feel the need to defend myself because the truth holds on its own. But even more than a resolution that I have, I want to share what shifted on the inside for me that maybe that'll help you. So I want to talk about what I learned through that challenging time. The first thing I learned is that we can be triggered and still lead. I mean, even though I was triggered emotionally, mentally, and physically, it was really draining. I still showed up. I still made decisions. I protected my team and I stayed in alignment. And so that's what true leadership is, not perfection or presence. Just yesterday, I was speaking at a chamber event about reaching your goals. And I was sharing the goals I set for myself in 2025 and where I landed at the end of the year. And maybe I'll do an episode about that because I'm really, really proud of the numbers that I was able to bring in. But one of my team helped me put together the PowerPoint. So I gave them the outline and said, hey, these are the images I'm thinking would work for what I'm saying. And so one of the images was a straight road going into the horizon, smoothly paved, everything well manicured, the straight ahead. And so that is how I, up until this point recently, that is how I kind of viewed leadership. Like I imagine what I want for my team, what I want for my company. But one of the things I don't ever imagine is that that road isn't always smooth and straight. So I'm learning that I can imagine the smooth and straight because that's where I'm headed. But there's going to be challenges on that road and it's not always going to be smooth and straight. And so preparing, guideposts and, all the things that go into making a road safe, like the reflectors and all that stuff. I can do that same kind of mental exercise to prepare myself mentally and emotionally for the challenges that may come and just knowing that I can overcome them and then get back on the path. So each time you face a challenge and come through it well, you're building that resilience and building that within yourself. So I'm going to take it as another win, even though I just already talked about my wins, but I definitely did learn a lot from that experience. Not that I want it to happen again, but I'm sure there'll be other ones. The second thing that I learned is that people are always watching how you handle pressure. And I don't mean that in a scary way. What I mean is in a clarifying one. So my team was watching and saw how I handled the stress, my vendors, my attorney, my family, my son. My son is the only one that lives at home right now with my husband and I, but he was watching it happen and unfold as well. The other thing I didn't do is I didn't burn any bridges. I didn't throw anyone under the bus. I protected what mattered. And that's what I want to be known for. I want to be known for being able to handle those challenges and still maintain, the core of who I am and how I show up for people. The third thing I learned is that clean hands matter. Not just to save you from sicknesses, right? But clean hands matter. And what I mean by that is that when your hands are clean, you don't have to explain or defend, you just lead. So because I had done everything the way that it needed to be done and I had followed the processes, I knew we were communicating. I knew we had an avoided responsibility, and knowing that became my shield. So one of the phrases that I came up with at the end of all of that and wrote on a whiteboard in my office is that I did the work, I showed up with integrity, the results are no longer up to me. All right, say that again. I did the work, I showed up with integrity, the results are no longer up to me. So the only thing that you control is what you are doing. And the outcomes, of course, are left up to other things. But if you've done it right, the outcomes should come out, positively. But we live in a world that's pretty broken and twisted and has lots of bumps and turns. But I don't have to carry the emotional weight of what the outcome is because I know I've done the right things beforehand. The fourth thing I learned is that emotions pass, but wisdom stays. So what felt like emotional chaos in that crazy time now feels like one of the most powerful teachers that I've ever had. But I necessarily don't want to learn that lesson again. Let's be clear. But the emotions now they've faded a little bit, but the wisdom stayed. So hopefully now I can give you some practical takeaways that are helpful for you. So if you're in a hard season right now, business-wise, financially, or emotionally, here's what I'd offer you. Document everything. Keep your records clean. Protect yourself. Have a circle. You need 1 or 2 people that you can tell the truth to. So what I mean by that is you can tell the unfiltered, unedited, truly emotional version of what you're going through, not the polished one that you can talk about at a I don't know, a networking event or something. When someone asks you how you're doing, you can actually give them the raw version, unedited. So 1 to 2 people for that. And then also if you can, a tool you could possibly try is to separate the emotion from fact. So get clear on what's true and what's fear. Don't burn down your credibility trying to win the moment. Sometimes there are situations that only time will reveal what's true. So sometimes the more we talk and the more we over explain that we did the right things, the more that it's harder for people to see and hear. So time is going to allow people to learn the truth. And don't let one hard moment redefine who you are. My closing reflections today in this episode is that I'm still learning what it means to be a woman who leads. But I know this now. I can be afraid and I can still be powerful. I can be triggered and still be trustworthy. I can be hurt and still walk in integrity. I can be challenged and still rise. We've come through the fire and we're still building. So if this episode landed for you, tell me your own other side of the storm story. Tag me on Instagram at @WonderWomenWhoBuild or send me a message with your win. I want to cheer you on. Thank you for listening to this episode of Wonder Women Who Build. If it encouraged you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another woman in your world who's walking through something hard or standing tall on the other side of it. Until next time, keep building with intention, leading with courage, and honoring the truth of who you are.